that's what the Kansas City Chiefs continue to do. They beat the New Orleans Saints on Monday Night Football. They doubled them up 26-13 at home at Arrowhead Stadium. And it was I'm watching this game. I'm sitting there with my dad watching the game. And listen, the Chiefs were supposed to win. I picked them to win. I say most people picked them to win. They were 5.5-point favorites. That felt, but even 5.5 sizable. But with Kansas City against a Saints team that's kind of reeling a little bit right now. Derek Carr, by the way, got hurt in this game. Kansas City was supposed to win, and they did. It's the way they did it, though. So Mahomes has the bad goal line interception where the brother of one of Taylor Swift's backup dancers, big giant defensive lineman, takes that football 30 yards. I mean, you want to talk about, it wasn't a thick six. He didn't take it to the house, but it was a thick pick. No question about that. You have that play. You have the fact that there's no Isaiah Pacheco. There's no Hollywood Brown. There's no Rashee Rice. And the Chiefs are taking, again, and I remember talking about this after they won the Super Bowl against the 49ers, is that what made the run for Mahomes in particular so incredible last year in the playoffs, outside of Kelsey, who's fantastic, outside of Kelsey and a good Rashee Rice at that point, it was, in the words of the great Bill Parcells, a bunch of Jags out there. Just a guy. Jags. Justin Watson, Mecole Hardman, Marquez Valdez-Scantling. I mean, he was doing it with guys out there against stacked Niners teams and Ravens teams and a Bills team that had it rolling and a loaded offensive Dolphins team. Mahomes didn't blink. One turnover the entire playoffs last year with guys on offense. And I'm watching this game, and Travis Kelce was great. The man, it continues to, listen, he'll give you one of these. He's getting up there in age, but he'll give you one of these, he only has 70 yards receiving where he's consistently separating, getting open. He had the nice little lateral when Kansas City had 4th and 1,000,000 that ended up leading to them getting a first down in the red zone. Juju Smith-Schuster, folks, had 260 yards in 11 games a year ago with the New England Patriots. 260 yards in 11 games. On Monday night, he had half of that alone. Juju Smith-Schuster, 7 catches for $130. By the way, Kansas City thought he was so important to their 2022 offense, they let his butt walk to the Patriots where he did nothing, and then they brought him back after he got cut by the Patriots. The worst, least talented offensive football. They said, yeah, you're not good enough to play for us. And he had 100 receiving yards the other night against the Saints. Okay, how about Kareem Hunt? Right, he was cut by the Chiefs in 2018 due to some off-the-field stuff. He goes to Cleveland, and he's fine at the start. He's okay, but kind of fades off at the end. The Browns actually cut him twice, or let him go twice. The Chiefs say, well, our backfield's kind of falling apart. Pacheco's hurt. Carson Steele is he's been dealing with injuries. We're going to bring him in, and, he leads us with rushing. He has 100 yards. And Mahomes' stat line this year, folks. How about this? How's 6 touchdowns, 6 picks, 16th in QBR work. And this season, Patrick Mahomes has a passer rating of 88. And they're 5-0. Now, a big reason they're 5-0, and this is big for Kansas City, is that if you look at the teams they played this year, which, by the way, I don't really believe in the Saints. I do believe, to varying degrees, in their first 4 opponents. Baltimore, Cincinnati, Atlanta, and the LA Chargers. Okay? The Ravens averaged 31 points per game. The Chiefs held them to 20. The Bengals averaged 28 points per game. The Chiefs held them to 25. The Falcons averaged 23 points per game. The Chiefs held them to 17. And the Chargers averaged 19 points per game. The Chiefs held them to 10. And as for the Saints, they averaged 31 points a game. And the Chiefs held them to 13 points. So this defense might, I actually thought the defense might take a slight step back because of the loss of L'Jarius Sneed. How many times have I called, nothing against him, but how many times have I called his name for the Tennessee Titans? I mean, listen, he's still a great corner, but they still got McDuffie. They still got Chris Jones, the best defensive tackle in football since Aaron Donald retired. They've still got Nick Bolton, who's a playmaking linebacker who will blow Ish up in the backfield. They've got good pass rushers. I mean, so Kansas City's defense, and we know how great the coordinator that Spags is, Steve Spagnuolo, with his blitz packages, as good as they come. I am watching this game, and I'm like, okay, they're 5-0 beating, in my opinion, I get Cincinnati's 1-4. I get it. I still think they can make a run because I believe in Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase. But be that as it may, they beat, in my mind, 4 really, really high-end teams. And a Saints team that's, it's fine. Kansas City's going to get one, maybe two receivers at the deadline. I don't think they're going to get Devontae Adams because even though the Raiders, I think the smart business for Vegas would be to trade Devontae Adams, fleece the Chiefs as much as you possibly can, get what you can from them, and actually maybe try and make them a little bit worse. I know it's a weird way of doing business, but it's not crazy. Devontae Adams might be off the table. Amari Cooper isn't. I think Amari Cooper might get dealt before the deadline for the Cleveland Browns. He doesn't seem to be thrilled with playing with Deshaun Watson, who would be. So Kansas City is going to upgrade their wide receiving core before it's all said and done. And I believe this is pure speculation. I think Hollywood's Browns going to be back for the playoffs. That they haven't ruled them out for the season. How many times do we see? I mean, we've seen guys who have been ruled out, and then at the last second in the biggest games, it seems like, oh, he's coming back. I think Hollywood Brown will be available for them whenever their first playoff game is, wild card round, divisional round, whatever the case may be. They're doing this with Mahomes playing very, very mediocre football. Pass rating of 88, middle of the NFL in QBR, 1-to-1 touchdown to interception ratio. I mean, I called him Mahomes. I called him Mahomes before this game when I picked Kansas City. I said he has not had a game since 2022 of over 300 passing yards and 0 turnovers. Well, he had the 300 yards at the interception on the goal line. If this is what Kansas City's doing now, by the way, the schedule for them moving forward. So they got San Francisco coming up in a couple of weeks. That's going to be tough. We know that. But after that, Kansas City's schedule. They got the Raiders twice in the next 6 games. They got Denver, which I think they could actually lose to Denver because Denver's got a really good defense. I think they'll split with the Broncos this year. Tampa Bay can't stop anybody. Buffalo, Bills will probably win that because they always beat Kansas City in the regular season. But you got some Panthers. You got the Browns. This is the hardest part of the Chiefs' schedule. They're not even playing well offensively, and they're 5-0. That, to me, for the rest of the NFL is absolutely positively terrifying. That other teams have kind of had their ups, had their downs. I mean, the Texans are 4-1. They've had some bad offensive performances and some bad defensive performances. They finally put together a complete game against Buffalo on Sunday. The Bills have been reeling a little bit. The Ravens can't stop anybody. I mean, the top contenders in the AFC. None of them has. Houston has an argument that they're in the same ballpark as Kansas City. I would still take the Chiefs just on championship pedigree. Between those teams, they have the best defensive player in Chris Jones. Spags has proven himself in the playoffs time and time again, way before his time in Kansas City. Listen, they were supposed to beat the Saints. But the way they did it with Mahomes, again, Mahomes actually, I thought, played pretty well. He had a QBR of 70 on a 0-100, which is really good. But, it's kind of like I talked about with Dak Prescott on Sunday. Like, Dak had it jacked to work with basically all night against bad circumstances, as already is. The hour-and-a-half rain delay, great Steelers defense, Mike Tomlin at Pittsburgh, everything went against Dak, and he still won the game, which is why I was blown away by him. To a slightly lesser degree, because Mahomes obviously better than Dak. That's kind of how I felt about Patrick and the Chiefs as a collective yesterday, or on Monday Night Football. So, watch out for this squad, because it could get scary. Because if they add a guy like an Amari Cooper or somebody else at the deadline, sweet Lord of all that is good, it could be a problem for the rest of the AFC and therefore the NFL. Thanks so much for watching the show on YouTube, and be sure to go click that big red subscribe button and check out the other clips and full shows from Carving It Up Live, as well as our other incredible content creators here on the Grid Network.